In this video tutorial, I am going to discuss about DNA replication inhibition by specifically nucleoside analogues. So to better understand this replication inhibition by nucleoside analogues, first we have certain insight into the DNA replication process, and then we can understand various strategies by which these nucleoside analogues are successful in inhibition of DNA replication. So as you can see over here, this is the DNA replication ongoing. This yellow highlighted part, this is a template strand, right? It is a template strand, whereas this incomplete strand is the daughter strand, Now we all know that DNA synthesis starts from 5' end to the 3' end, and the reading on the template direction is from the 3' to the 5' end. Why this end is known as 3'? Because here the 3' hydroxyl group is the free. And why this is a 5' end? Because the 5' phosphate group is free over here. This is the 5' phosphate. Okay. So when this new DNA strand is growing into this direction, our enzyme, that is DNA polymerase, what it does, DNA polymerase reads on this location as this much strand is synthesized. So here it senses that okay, there is a adenine nucleotide is there. So what it will do? It will pick up its complementary base, that is a thymine, its nucleotide is picked up, trinucleotide, then 2 phosphates are removed. So 1 monophosphate is inserted over here. So let's shift this nucleotide to this place. Okay. So here your DNA polymerase enzyme will set up new nucleotide over here, and then what it will do, it will try to make up a bond between this 3' OH group and 5' phosphate group. So this OH group is now removed and there is a bond formation over here. So this becomes our phosphodiester bond, and its direction is from 3', this 3' to the 5' phosphodiester bond. Remember, the new strand synthesis is from 5' to 3' end. However, its phosphodiester bond is from the 3' to 5'. So this is the main phenomena by which DNA polymerase is able to grow the new DNA strand. So basically, this bond formation is the main function. And what is the basic requirement for this bond formation? It's the free OH group on this 3' formation. As soon as new nucleotide is added, new 3' end is created, and this new 3' OH group is there. So if somehow you manipulate this OH group or manipulate this sugar, then you can inhibit DNA polymerase. Okay. So which are the proper strategies to inhibit DNA polymerases? The first thing is you can remove 3' OH group. Or second strategy can be, instead of removing 3' OH group, you simply replace this 2' deoxy sugar with something else. It might be substituted sugar, or it might be something other than sugar. So you can put up another sugar. For example, arabinose. Okay, this arabinose is a structurally similar to this deoxyribose sugar, but this arabinose is a oxy sugar. It has OH group on the 2' position also, but it is flipped on the upper direction. So this arabinose, you can replace this 2' deoxy pentose or 2' deoxy ribose sugar with the arabinose sugar. Or the third strategy can be, you can simply use the substitution of the sugar moiety. You can substitute sugar moiety with another substance. So these 3 strategy can be put in the place to inhibit DNA polymerase, and so you can inhibit the chain elongation of the new DNA. So let's understand about this all 3 strategies. So first strategy is the removal of 3' OH group. So for that, we have one very good example, that 2', 3' dideoxy inosine. Its structure looks like this. So this is the pentose ring. Here on the 2' there is no OH group, on the 3' also there is no OH group. Okay, so it's a 2', 3' dideoxy, and inosine means here this inosine nitrogenous base is present. And remember, this is nucleoside, so here OH group is there. I will tell you why there is this nucleoside and how it will be able to convert into the nucleotide, right? So this is 2' 3' dideoxyinosine. So you can easily think, you can easily understand that this 2' 3' dideoxyinosine is inserted over here, then it is lacking in the OH group. So now the next bond formation is not possible, right? So the DNA, new DNA strand synthesis can be easily terminated, or in a sense you can say that DNA polymerase will be inhibited. Okay. The other name of this 2' 3' dideoxyinosine is the diadenosine. And it is also goes by popular short form, that is DDL. Okay, that is short form of the dideoxyinosine. Sorry, it's not DDL, it's a DDI. Okay. Now about the second strategy, that you can use another sugar instead of this ribose, deoxyribose sugar, you can use arabinose. So by this second strategy, that instead of ribose, you substitute with the arabinose. So the structure of arabinose, this is also a pentose sugar. So it is 5-membered ring. This is oxygen, of course. Here it is also oxygen. Then it is a oxy sugar. So it has OH group on the 3'. It has OH group on the 2' position also, but it is flipped on the upper side. Okay. So by substitution of the ribose with arabinose, we have two examples. One is cytosine arabinoside, and another drug is adenine arabinoside. This cytosine arabinoside, it has cytosine as a nitrogenous base in this nucleoside, and this adenine arabinoside, it has adenine as a nitrogenous base in this sugar. Of course, at the 5' position, it has OH group. Again, this is nucleoside. Remember, it is not nucleotide. This cytosine arabinoside, it goes by other name also. It's a cytarabine. Or it is also known as ERA-C. Similarly, adenine arabinoside, it is also known as vidarabine, or it is also known as ERA-A. Okay, ERA is for the arabinose, and C is for A is for their respective nitrogenous base. The use of the cytosine arabinoside, it is used in the anti-cancer chemotherapy. Why it is used as an anti-cancer chemotherapy? Because as it can inhibit DNA synthesis. So in the cancer tumor, what happens? There is an uncontrolled cell division, and we want to control that. So if you give cytosine arabinoside into such patient, their cancer cell growth can be stopped. So it is used as an anti-cancer chemotherapy. This adenine arabinoside or vidarabine, it is used as an antiviral agent or antiviral chemotherapy. The reason for using in this antiviral chemotherapy is that when virus infection occurs to us, this virus starts multiplying itself, okay, and it can destroy our cell. So to prevent multiplication of this viral genome, if we use adenine arabinoside, it can inhibit DNA replication, and so it can be used to stop the viral replication also. So it is used as an antiviral agent. Now about the third strategy, that is the substitution of sugar moiety. So now instead of sugar molecule, we can use some structural analog of the sugar. So our third strategy goes by substitution of sugar moiety. Now in this case, one very good example is the azidothiamidine. Now in this azidothiamidine, in its structure, what happens? It looks like it has a sugar-like moiety is present, or sugar-like molecule is present. Here it has oxygen, but what happens here? Three nitrogen atoms are attached at the 3' position. Okay, so here the 3' position is spoiled. It cannot be used for the making of the 3' to 5' phosphodiester bond. But this is not a complete structure of azidothiamidine. Here it has thymidine at the 1' position, and here of course it has OH group. Again it looks like nucleoside. Okay, this azidothiamidine, it also goes by name AZT, its short form, or it is also known as zidovudine. Zidovudine, and for that its short form is ZDV. Okay, so azidothiamidine or AZT or zidovudine or ZDV, all are the name of this compound, the same compound. What is the use of this? This is also antiviral agent. This is also antiviral agent, and specifically it is used for anti-HIV treatment, anti-HIV treatment, and specifically in the human immunodeficiency virus cases, HIV infected cases, it is used in the pregnant woman, to stop this HIV infection from passing of this infection to the baby. So to prevent passing of HIV infection to baby, to their unborn baby. This, if you properly start zidovudine or azidothiamidine, then in the pregnant woman, their offspring have lesser chance to get the HIV infection. Now you might be wondering that whatever drug we have discussed, all were nucleoside, whereas in reality our DNA polymerase needs such nucleotide, and nucleotide should be of the triphosphate. Okay, triphosphate, and then enzyme system convert triphosphate into the monophosphate by removing pyrophosphate, that we had seen in the earlier lecture. So how these nucleosides are able to get converted into the nucleotide. So for that, when you take these drugs and it comes into your system, what happens? These drugs are nucleosides, right? We are taking it as a nucleosides, but they are converted to the nucleotides by our own cellular kinases, So if you add these drugs, whatever the drugs we discussed in our system, then our system has to work on these drugs. Okay, then only they are converted into their active form. This is the active form. It is not possible that if you in the test tube you take some virus or cancer cell and add these nucleosides and they will start inhibiting those cancer cells, or no, it is not possible in the laboratory setting. But once this drug goes into your blood or into your system, what happens? Our own cellular kinases, these are the group of enzymes which adds phosphate. They convert nucleosides into the nucleotides, and these nucleotides will now in the active form and will do the desired function. So we can call all these nucleoside analog as a prodrug. Because when we are taking these drugs, they are not active. But once you take up this drug, our body works on that drug and convert it into the active form. Okay. So this is all about the DNA replication inhibition by the nucleoside analogs. If you have any query or confusion, please write it down in the comment section below. Thank you.